Hey guys, welcome back for another video. This one we're going to go over UFC 292. Coming up this weekend, we've got a pretty good card. It was supposed to be a lot more stacked, but some of the guys got moved around, some fights got canceled. But we're still going to cover 4 fights on this card, so I want to get right into it. And we'll be starting off with Chito Vera against Pedro Munoz. Now starting off, Pedro Munoz is obviously going to be at a size disadvantage against Chito. Chito's quite big for the bantamweight division, and compared to Pedro, I think he's going to have quite an advantage just in the size and reach alone. But on top of that, I think Chito's also looked a lot better as of late than Pedro has. And I believe that Chito's going to be able to really pick apart Pedro Munoz, especially with the reach advantage. He's got such long legs, so I would imagine he's going to be looking to spam leg kicks, although Pedro is also going to look to do that. That's something he's very good at. And as for Pedro, I would say he should probably look to spam the leg kicks like I just said, and also look to take this fight to the ground. We saw Chito kind of struggle against Corey Sandhagen, and I'm not sure if Pedro Munoz is about that same level of grappling experience that Corey has, but I would still say that it's a better alternative to getting pieced up on the feet. But for this fight, I'm going to be taking Chito Vera. And up next, we've got Neil Magny against Ian Gary. This one's going to be a really good fight. This is a short notice fight for Neil Magny, but as you guys probably know, Neil Magny is a veteran in this sport and has been in the UFC for a long time. He's a very on and off fighter. You know, he'll pick up a win, get a loss, win, lose, and just kind of repeat that. But he's always fighting literally some of the best guys in the division. He's always fighting someone within that top 15 ranking. And it doesn't matter who it is, he's game for anybody. And regardless of who it is, Neil Magny is so damn good, he can give anybody a tough fight on any given night. I don't care who it is. Whether he wins or loses, it's going to be a tough fight if you're going against Neil Magny. And the last person to make Neil Magny look pretty easy was Shavkat Rakhmonov, which only says a lot about Shavkat, but that's not who we're talking about in this fight, because Neil Magny's opponent is Ian Gary. A 12-0 undefeated prospect coming out of Ireland. He was very much inspired by the Conor McGregor era, but since coming to the UFC, he's gone 5-0, and so far has racked up some big wins. He definitely prefers to stand. We haven't really seen much out of him on the ground, but from what I hear, he is very well-rounded. But I think his biggest advantage in this fight will probably be somewhere on the feet. And for this fight, Ian Gary was supposed to fight Jeff Neal. Unfortunately, Jeff Neal got injured and had to pull out of the fight, so Neil Magny stepped in on short notice. I mean, it was maybe like a week or so. And with a 6-inch reach advantage over Ian Gary, I think Magny's definitely going to give him problems, but I'm not sure if he'll be able to do enough to win the fight. As I said, Ian Gary has a lot of momentum right now. He's 5-0 inside the UFC, 12-0 as a professional, and has just seemed to continually impress time after time after time. And with each fight that he's had, he has shown that he's gotten better with each fight. I mean, in his last fight, when he fought Daniel Rodriguez, I thought Daniel Rodriguez was going to win, and I took D-Rod. I just thought that Daniel Rodriguez was good enough to be able to hold him up against the cage, probably get him down to the ground, where I think D-Rod would have had the biggest advantage, and where I think Neil Magny has the biggest advantage. And I thought that D-Rod could grind out a decision at the very least, but I was proven wrong. But I don't think I'll be picking against Ian Gary this time, because like I said, Neil Magny's coming in on short notice, and had he had maybe a full training camp, I would be much more inclined to pick Neil Magny. But given the short notice, along with the lack of preparation, I'm going to be taking Ian Gary. And on to the co-main event, the women's strawweight title is on the line between Zhang Weili and Amanda Lemos. And this fight, I think, probably has the talent to steal the show. I mean, just starting off with the achievements of Zhang Weili. Since coming to the UFC, she has just blazed her way through almost all the competition. While she did drop 2 losses to Rose Namajunas, she managed to rebound and beat Carla Esparza to win that title back. And Zhang Weili is, without a doubt, one of the most impressive female fighters I've ever seen. I mean, she is very well-rounded. She is at an elite level in just about every department of the fight. But now she's going up against an opponent that isn't quite as tested or as experienced as her. That opponent being Amanda Lemos, who has won her last 2 fights by finish, and overall is an extremely dangerous fighter. I mean, she's a finisher at heart. Only 2 of her fights have ever gone to a decision. She is truly fine with being anywhere in the fight, because for the most part, she can handle herself, whether it be up against the cage, on the ground, on the feet, it doesn't matter. She's got knockout power in her hands, along with the ability to be a true threat on the ground with the submissions. And I would say that being on the ground is probably going to be the best chance of victory for Amanda Lemos. Hello, honey. Come on. Honey has decided to join us for the video, so that's a little treat for y'all. But with Zhang Weili, she's so aggressive and overall, I think she's going to have a slight edge in this fight, but on the ground is where Amanda Lemos truly, I think, is going to be at her most dangerous. And I don't know what it is about this fight. I really like Zhang Weili, I really like Amanda Lemos, but for some reason I'm kind of leaning against Zhang Weili in this one. A gut feeling, and I know I've said this a few times before, I've been wrong sometimes, been right sometimes. Either way, I'm getting that kind of feeling for this fight. So for this one, I'm going to be taking Amanda Lemos to win it. And now we've got the main event of UFC 292, that being Aljamain Sterling against Sugar Sean O'Malley. This one's going to be a good one. This is going to be the 4th title defense of Aljamain Sterling. He has said that there's a good 99% chance that this is his last fight down at 135 pounds. But putting that off to the side, Aljamain Sterling is a tremendous wrestler. He's probably the best grappler at 135 right now. And he's got a real tricky style on the feet. Like I said it last time that I covered a fight with Aljamain Sterling back when he was getting ready to fight Henry Cejudo, that the way he fights is kind of, it's not like super unpredictable, but it's just enough to kind of throw you off. And I think we've seen him throw off quite a few opponents, such as Henry Cejudo, such as Petr Yan in the second fight. And even going back to before he ever won the title, that helped him out a lot in his early career. But with Sugar Sean O'Malley, he is an elite level striker, and he may be able to read it. He may be able to see what's coming. I'm sure he's doing a lot of tape study. I'm sure he's probably caught up on a few things that he should be looking out for. But the biggest weakness that I see with Sean O'Malley, and I'm sure this is something that's very obvious to most people, is how is he going to deal with the wrestling and grappling of Aljamain Sterling? Because so far inside the UFC, we haven't seen Sean O'Malley have to use his grappling all that much. I mean, almost every single fight that we've seen Sean in, there's no grappling whatsoever. And the few that there are grappling in, it's not enough to really look at and be confident that he has what it takes to take Aljamain Sterling on the ground. And along with the size difference, Sean O'Malley is 4 inches taller than Aljamain Sterling, and I think that's going to play into Aljo's favor. Given the wrestling credentials that Aljamain Sterling has, I feel that regardless of who you put him in there with, he's got what it takes to handle just about anybody on the ground, at least within his weight class at the moment. And I feel like Aljamain Sterling's wrestling pedigree is just going to make it too much for Sean O'Malley to handle. Although I am a big Sean O'Malley fan, I would gladly eat my words if Sean O'Malley somehow goes out there and knocks out Aljamain Sterling. I like both of these guys a lot, but it would just be crazy to me. But for this fight, I will be taking Aljamain Sterling, but low-key rooting for Sean O'Malley. And it looks like that's all I got for y'all. So to recap my picks for this video, I'm going to be taking Chito Vera, Ian Garry, Amanda Lemos, and Aljamain Sterling. So I hope y'all enjoy the fights. Hit like, subscribe, and all that.